Sorry. Good morning. So anybody who doesn't know me, I'm Katy Morgan, and I'm one of the trustees of Global Challenge. But up until August, I was an unusual trustee because I was the only one that has never been to Soroti. And some of you may remember that in August, I was up here with my son and daughter, Tim and Joe, saying that we were about to go over and could you pray? And we did appreciate the prayer. I mean, here is the picture of Nairobi Airport when we got there. Half the airport had a power cut, and that was the half of the airport that we needed to be in for our transfers. So there was a little bit of tension, let's put it that way. But thank God that we were in the last 4 that got onto the correct plane to get us to Entebbe on time. So that was good. So thank you. But of course, we got there and we had the long journey to Soroti. Oh, it's me. I've got to do this now. In the first service, somebody was doing it for me. So so there's Tim and Joe fast asleep, but you can't see me because I'm actually behind them lying down with all the luggage fast asleep. But yeah, so that was our first introduction to Uganda. After a bit of a sleep in the hotel, we went on to Crossroads School. The children were not actually there because they had done their exams and they were at home and the teachers were doing all the marking. So we joined the teachers in their meeting, and all I'm doing is I'm just going to show some pictures. I'm whetting your appetite so that you'll want to come back on the 13th of November when we have our information evening for Global Challenge. And please put it in your diary. There will be food to eat and different reports, so please come back for that. But this is a few pictures. So the man in the white shirt, that's Robert, who is the wonderful headmaster of the school. And in that meeting, you just felt the warmth and love of those wonderful teachers. And that's another Robert in the orange shirt who took us around. And so we went around the school buildings having a look. We've gone too far. But you see in the classrooms, this is one of the classrooms, very basic, and even the blackboard, it's got all bits come out. They're not good blackboards, but yet the teachers, they teach, and there's 2 of the pupils, they had just come in for the day to do some revision. They were doing a parabolic graph equations on the blackboard, so we were just watching them and listening to them. And then you can see up above, there's all these posters. So in each of the classrooms, that's the geography one, these amazing posters that have been hand-drawn just to help the pupils in their lessons. Ooh. And here, this is the new chimney, they call it. It's the kitchen area. That's Betty, who does all the cooking, along with a lady. You can just about see her, but you can't. And that's Enoch, and my Ugandan son, who did a sponsored run a couple of years ago, and the money he raised, part of it has gone to renovate that kitchen area. So he was very pleased to see it, and Betty's very happy to have it because she cooks a lunch for the children every day, and it can be their only meal that they have in the day. So she cooked us a beautiful meal. That is the pastor Jafancio, I think that, excuse my pronunciation, but anyway, he is the pastor of Rockview Church. And I found out why Rockview Church is called Rockview Church is because there's this massive rock that you can see from the church. So there you are. That's what it's there for. So that's the name. And then with the teachers in their break, we were able to gift them the beautiful jumpers and dresses that ladies have been making connected to the church. And it was a blessing to give them, and and I'm sure they have blessed many people with those jumpers because they all took some, and whether it went to their families or to friends, it was lovely to gift them with that because these are teachers, they really put a lot of love into their teaching. They could earn higher salaries elsewhere in Uganda, but they are dedicated to that school and to making sure that pupils feel valued. And then we went, the next day, we went with wonderful Billy, who heads up the special needs part of GC. And we met 3 of the children who have benefited from the livestock. So they've each had a goat. That was little Martha. She's also had a wheelchair from us as well. The bottom picture is John, and he's great. He goes to college on his special bike, but also he's learning how to make shoes. And there's his family so proud to show they're all wearing the shoes that John's made. And Tim, he's a flip-flop man. And John had this flip-flop and it fitted Tim perfectly. But unfortunately, he'd only made one of the flip-flops and he didn't have the other one. So when the next people who go over to Soroti, John will be very happy to have orders for his shoes, and he can make them when they get there. And this is Lazarus, we named each of the goats. Well, he had a goat who was actually pregnant when he had her, so he had a kid as well, and so we named the kid and called it Gareth the kid. And it was lovely because his family, they gifted us a live chicken we called Bertha, and Bertha is alive and well even to this day. We didn't bring her back here. She's in Entebbe, and she's laying eggs like no man's business, so she's doing very well. But the thing is here is the transformation that God's brought through Billy, because these are 3 children who would have been kept in a corner of the house and forgotten about. But the pride that these families have in their children and their achievement is wonderful, and it's all because of the blessing that Billy and his team. So if you see on the left, Billy's in the middle, but on the left is Adam, who is one of the volunteers. So they have a team of volunteers who go out and help and support the families. And then the final morning we were there, we actually saw pupils. They came in for their results, and Tim took the opportunity to teach ultimate frisbee, and that's what we were talking about, because he does ultimate frisbee at uni, and they had great fun. We hardly have any pictures of the ultimate frisbee because we were all involved in all the games. There was about 5 or 6 games going on all around the field, and so we're hoping that that will catch on and they'll start up an ultimate frisbee championship in that area or something. But I think Crossroads School will be the champions because they were brilliant, amazing. And finally, Pastor Abraham, wonderful man, full of the love of Jesus. There he is. He's the man in the middle, to the right of me, and he's the man who heads up Global Challenge out there. A man just full of Jesus. I mean, he told us a bit of his testimony. A man who's come from the slums, and yet he's been called back to those slums to plant a church and to oust out the witch doctors who used to live there because they couldn't get any trade because of the work that he'd been doing. Just a privilege to meet that wonderful family, and just being there. I think we were only there for about half an hour, but you just saw the unity of love in that family. Wonderful. So then finally, that's my trip to Soroti.